Hello friends and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Now, last time we went on an interstellar adventure, exploring a whole bunch of new planets and digging up a bunch of new ores. Today, we are going to attempt to close out the last of Techopolis 2. So, we have to make up some new types of ingots, and then we have to unlock a whole bunch of mastery. We might not finish this episode, but we're going to make a big attempt to try. So, with no further ado, let's dive right in. Alright, so as I mentioned, we are getting down to the end of the pack. We have to go through the last of this void tech tree, and then we are on to final tech. And this one is awfully complicated, I'm going to tell you right now. So I've been spending a lot of time between the last episode and this episode trying to get a lot of the resources that we are going to need pre-crafted so that we will be ready to go and zip through this, hopefully. Many hours of work have gone into having all of those additional ingredients, so I'm hoping this goes smoothly. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and deal with voided Technium. So, voided Technium we should be able to have access to. We've got the 3 different ores that we got from our planets. Desh from the moon, Calorite I think from Mars, and Ostrom from Venus if I remember correctly. We also are going to need a bunch of nether stars, and we're going to need a bunch of hellish Technium ingots. So, we have made a bunch of that and ready to go. We've been cloning up a bunch of nether stars. So let's see here, somewhere in here, I've got all of the nether stars that I've been making. Yeah, so we've got 256 of those. We are going to use those for certain. We also have all of these different types of blocks that I just mentioned. I've made it so that we can auto-craft those. So let's go ahead and auto-craft up 64 of each of these. Just like so. And that's going to be the bulk of the ingredients that we are going to need here. So we'll pick those up. Then we want to grab our hellish Technium ingots. So let's grab 64 of those. So I think we should have everything that we need to make our first few voided ingots here. All right, 8. That is an okay start. We're going to need way more than that. All right, so that checks that quest off. Now we need to make mod mastery papers. This is paper wrapped around a voided Technium ingot, and we're going to use this for a lot of things. We have a little bit of paper here, but I believe we had even more paper in here. Yeah, I made up a ton of paper. Paper is relatively easy if you use logs to do this rather than waiting for everything to grow. So let's get ourselves 8 mod mastery papers. And we are, of course, going to need way more than that as well, because we are now on to final Technium. All right, so we need 16 final Technium ingots. And final Technium ingots are made of just about everything, y'all. Just a metric ton of stuff. So we are going to have to make up a bunch of these. Now, one thing to note here is that we have a few ingredients that we have not actually made yet. So we're going to have to go back and unlock a few things. We need to unlock angel rings, so we need to go back and grab that. We also need to go back and unlock compressed dye, or excuse me, regular dye, so that we can make quantum compressed dye. Because quantum compressed dye, we need dye base that is made from dye ore, and dye ore, of course, we need to mine up. So let's grab those 2 things first. So we need to trek all the way back here to Ores R Us, where the dye ore has not been unlocked, actually. So it turns out we need to go even further back. Where is our dye ore? No, it's not in basic. Isn't it advanced? There it is, dye ore. So let's add that to our shopping list. And then we need to go and find the angel ring. There is the angel ring. So we're going to add that research paper as well. So first things first, angel ring. We need 4 blocks of gold for that. So that's easy enough. Let's put 4 blocks of gold into our system. And now we can make this. Oh, we are missing our elite Technium. Well, that's easy enough, right? Because we can now push button craft elite Technium. So let's do that real fast. And then in just a second, we should have access to all of these. And there we go. There is our angel ring ready to go. And now we need our dye ore. This should be easy enough. We need 4 advanced Technium. Again, we can push button create that. So let's give ourselves 4 pieces of that. And there we go. Now we have the dye ore. Now I think I had made a bunch of bucks. Now we're going to have to make a bunch more tech bucks. We do not have enough, but at least for these quests we should have enough. So we will submit that and our bucks. There is our angel ring. And then we go back and grab our dye ore, submit that. Great. And now we need to go and buy our die ore, which again is going to be in ores are us. Here is the die ore. We submit that and we have the die ore. Great. Now I'm going to go set up this die ore in a miner real quick. All right, so there is our die ore miner set up. I am really hoping this is the last one we will ever have to set up, and we're just going to let this go for a while. So we are going to use this die ore in our compressor. So first we have to smelt it into our die base, and it looks like we can do that in the jumbo smelter. I don't have the chemical injection chamber set up, so we're not going to worry about that. So we then need to take the die base, and in our quantum compressor, we need 1024 of it to make one. That is a lot. So for our quest, let's go back here for a second. For our actual quest, to do that final technium, we are going to need, well, 4 times 1024, and then we need 16 of these final technium ingots. So 16 times 4 is 64. So 64, that is a lot of die ore. So that is going to have to go for a while here. Let's see here. Go ahead and add our storage upgrade to this chest. There we go. And the other thing we're going to do here, I went ahead and unlocked the time in a bottle mod while I was playing between episodes, because this all was taking a long time. So I think it was here under advanced research. Yes. You can unlock time in a bottle. It was really cheap to do this. I should have done this earlier because it's just advanced technium and a single research paper. And that is, of course, stuck in my curio slot here. So now all I have to do is hit G while I'm hovering over a block, and I can speed up the process of whatever machine is there. So now you can see we are getting die ore very rapidly. So I'm gonna have to keep doing this over and over again until basically we have an entire full chest of die ore. Now, what is this mess here? Between episodes a while back, I had thought that I would be able to, with Mekanism, set up some lithium so that we could unlock the power storage that is multi-block in Mekanism. However, all of that was locked by needing fluorite blocks, which I didn't have access to. So I set up this massive thermal evaporation tower, here to make water into brine, and a second one to turn brine into lithium. So I just have a boatload of brine sitting around. Now, brine, you can drop into an electrolytic separator, and that will split it into sodium and chlorine. So we've got sodium here, and we are going to dump our excess sodium. And these are going into ultimate chemical tanks. Now, we're going to use the chlorine along with our leftover hydrogen from when we were splitting out oxygen from water with our other electrolytic separator. So our leftover hydrogen here, we can then use, and actually we can now dump the excess oxygen as well. We're going to use that extra hydrogen to make hydrogen chloride in this machine, the chemical infuser. That hydrogen chloride goes into a tank, and then that is being used in the chemical injection chamber. That's going to give us 2-to-1 on our die ore. So those are just being pulled out of a ultimate bin here, which is my storage unit of choice. And there you go. We are filling very rapidly our die ore out of our miner here, which we've sped up to 128 speed. I've sped up the speed of our ultimate logistical transporter as well, so that we can get all of the items out of this very rapidly, almost as fast as we are creating it, and into our ultimate bin. We will then be able to take this die ore and turn it into die. And then our die base is slowly but surely going into our quantum compressor to make up all of that quantum compressed die that we are going to need. So over the course of the episode, we are going to let that run and do its thing. Okay, die is crafting. Now we need to make our resonant angel ring. That is a, what, 5th tier angel ring? It is way down there or something. So let's go all the way back to the beginning. And we need to start with just making a diamond ring. Now, for this, we need to make a few things here. So we need a full stack of blocks of diamond. Now, thankfully, we have plenty of diamond laying around, so we can easily make ourselves a stack of diamond. There we go, 1 stack of diamond. And then what we need to do here is make ourselves 16 diamond gears and a full stack of elite technium. Okay, elite technium is done, so let's make ourselves 16 of these angel rings. Let's see, that's 8, 12, 16. Perfect. Okay, now for those, we then need to make these next tier up. which include, we need feathers for this. Okay, feathers are no problem. We have a bunch of string. Okay, so let's make ourselves up a bunch of feathers. There we go. And that's probably more than we need here. What else are we going to need? We are going to need blaze rods. Okay, so we should clone the blaze rods. That's the easiest way to do it. We need the first one in our system though, and that we're going to make in our metal press. So let's see here. We should have some blaze powder sitting around. Oh, maybe not. Well, if not, we can certainly make that pretty easily. We just need to find our redstone whatsamajigs. There we go. We have redstone flux coils. We take 5 of these and stick them in our pulverizer. And that will turn into blaze powder. And then the blaze powder, we of course will turn into our blaze rod. All right, so we dupe up a couple of blaze rods here. There we go, 16 blaze rods. We are going to store the original back in this chest along with our original nether star so that we can continue to reuse that. And then all we need, oh, it looks like, I assume, yeah, every tier of this is going to need more elite Technium. So we are going to have to make ourselves a bunch more elite Technium up. So let me go ahead and make up another whole stack of this. So I think we're going to need 128 all said and done. Again, that should be no problem. We have been making ingredients along the way. So the last thing we are going to need to make here is blocks of gold. So 48 blocks of gold. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. All right, looking pretty good here. So let's go ahead and make up 16 of these. There we go. And we'll drop those off. Now it's time to figure out what the next tier of angel ring is going to be. So let's use this real quick. Leadstone. That's the next one we need to make. Okay, great. So this is easy enough. We just need a bunch of hardened glass and hardened integral components. Of course, that's what we need. I made up a bunch of those as well. We need lead blocks. Let's go ahead and make ourselves 32 lead blocks. All right, so we should have everything that we need to make our leadstone angel rings now. Let me go ahead and drop this back in here, and then we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 of those. All right, and now on to hardened. This needs lumium glass, which you just make with lumium and hardened glass, and the stabilizer RF coils, which are easy, redstone flux coils and gold. And then, of course, Invar blocks, reinforced integral components from thermal and elite Technium. So let's go ahead and make 16 of these, just like so. The reinforced is basically the same. We need these high flux RF coils, which are very similar to the other coils we've made. Signalum glass, which is just hardened glass and signalum. Electrum blocks, of course, we can make elite Technium, and energized glowstone, which is just glowstone thrown into a magma crucible and melted, then thrown in buckets. So we should be able to make a bunch of these, although this one is a little more obnoxious because of the bucket situation. And there we go, 16 of those done. And on to the final tier here, the resonant. These are a pain because we have to make a resonant integral components, but we've got those already. All right, and let's rock out the last tier of these angel rings. There we go. Perfect and done. Great. So we have that part of this recipe done. All right, so to make the final Technium, we also need all 8 of these research books. And that means we need 16 of each of these research books. So to that end, we are going to need to make 16 of each of these things, and these are each complicated in and of themselves. So let's add these to our shopping list one at a time here, and we will work our way around the list. All right, so number 1, Mekanism. Mekanism is made with quantum entangloporters. So we are going to need a full stack of these. For that means we need a full stack of teleportation cores. So let's go ahead and make ourselves a bunch of those. Oh, lapis is the thing we're out of. No, we have plenty of lapis. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of lapis. And there is 64 teleportation cores. Then all we need to do is, whoops, wrong one. We need to make up these quantum entangloporters. Oh, what are we missing for that? Oh, refined obsidian. No problem. We have more refined obsidian than we know what to do with. There we go. Just had to grab those out of our other drawer system. And now we should be able to make 64 of these. And there we go. 64 quantum entangloporters. All right, there we go. 16 of the mod masteries. So grab that up and we get 1 tech puck for that. All right, so we are 1/8 of the way to our quest. Next up, Compressium. This is a super easy one. Thankfully, we have been making compressed stone for a very long time. Right back here, 2048. So let's go ahead and grab up, I think we're going to need more than 8 of those. So let's take those back and we will make ourselves 16 of those. Actually, it looks like we only needed 1 stack of 9x. The moral of this mod pack, actually two stacks, excuse me. The moral of this mod pack so far is as you're going through, upgrade everything as you go, because otherwise you are not going to be able to complete this at all. It's going to be impossible. All right, Flux networks are next. Again, these are easy. We have a bunch of Flux blocks that we made. We have Flux dust and Flux cores. I made up a boatload earlier. So let's go ahead and add this real quick. Flux networks. There we go. Just make 16 of these, and this should use almost all of our Flux blocks I made. I made about 2 stacks. I guess it's only 1 stack. There we go. And that's that done. Knock that quest off. Digital storage. This one gets to be a little bit more complicated because 256k parts are expensive. And again, we are going to need 16 of those. So 16 times 8, 2 stacks of 256k. So let's find our 256k storage part. Where is that at? I think we have a couple in here already. We have 1 in here already. So we need to make ourselves 127 of them. So it's going to do all of this. Now for this, I had to make a lot of processor binding. This was a pain, but we had all of the nether quartz and everything else that we've been mining basically for like 10 episodes. So the binder was the most difficult part. Everything else was relatively simple. So let's get that started because that is going to take a while to crank through this. So the book for tech bucks is really easy. We're just making these out of our ultimate Technium. That gives us 10 per. So we take our mod mastery papers, put them in here and give it 2 stacks of tech bucks and we get a book. So we just do that. And it doesn't even use up the mod mastery papers, which is even better. There we go, 4. Okay, I'm going to go make up a bunch more of our tech bucks here, and we are going to finish this out real quick. All right, and there are our 16 tech bucks books. So we cross those off. Waystones. Waystones are super, super easy. Again, we just need to make warp stones for that. And warp stones we can make really easily. We just need to use all of our laying around our ender pearls, of which we have just thousands and thousands, along with all of these other things, the amethyst crystals and diamonds. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So we are going to need a full stack of these. All right, let's make the rest of these. 8 more, and there we go. 16 waystone books. All right, and that takes care of waystones. So that is now done. Now, back to the main list here, Beyond Earth. Okay, this one is actually really simple as well. We need a bunch of blocks of calorite. So let's go ahead, let's see here. 64, yeah, 64 should be enough. And now we need 64 of these rovers. So rovers are a funny little thing here. So to make 64 of these, we need to make a whole bunch of wheels, and that means we need to make slime balls and black dye. Now, we have a bunch of slime balls already, but the black dye is easily made from our dye base. So let's go grab 3 stacks of dye base up real quick. 2 and 3, there we go, and we can turn this into our dye. So was it this pattern? I think this is black dye. There we go, 64 of those, no problem. All right, so let's make up our wheels here. All right, there's 64 and there is 128. Now we do need to make a stack of 64 chests for our rover. I've already got the furnaces in here and I have the steel in the buckets. So yeah, there we can just keep making this over and over and over again. Oh, you know what would make this easier is if I just do this. There we go. Now we can make all the rovers that our heart wants to make. And now we should be able to make this book and 16 of those. Okay, perfect. Another quest done. Zipping through here. Again, preparation takes us a very long way. All right, so next up, let's move on to Immersive Engineering. This one is actually a big pain. I kind of hate this recipe. we need to use our mod mastery papers with our bottling machine and phenolic resin. Phenolic resin we make from creosote oil, which we have, and acetylide, which we do not have. So for that, we need to get some ethanol and silver plates. Silver plates are easy, of course, and that needs to be made in a refinery. The ethanol we need to get from an industrial fermenter, which we do not have, and whatever veggies that we have on hand. We actually have a bunch of beetroot, so that should be no problem. It doesn't look, oh, actually we have even more than that of apples. So apples are probably going to be the thing that we're going to use for this. So let's make our industrial fermenter. And also we need to make our refinery, and I'm going to make another bottling machine while we're at it. So that's easy enough. We just need these ingredients here: a fluid pump, iron sheet metal, resin engineering block, light engineering block, steel scaffolding, and conveyor belts. We're going to need an industrial fermenter, which has all of these things, basically most of the same ingredients. We need fluid pipes and cauldrons for this. And then the refinery, we are going to need all of those bits and bobs here. So I've already taught all of those recipes to my system. We just need to systematically go through and make sure that we have enough of each of those. So I'm going to do the counting real quick here and figure out how much of everything we need. So for instance, I know that I need 6 light engineering blocks. So click 6 and it's going to craft those up real fast. All right, let's get this set up next to our launch pad. So first things first, let's go in reverse order. Let's build our fermenter first. So machines, heavy machinery, fermenter. So that's easy for us to do. Light engineering block should go over here. And then pipes. And a redstone engineering block, so cauldrons there, and our redstone engineering block will go here. And then the top row is just our sheet metal, goes on top of the cauldrons. There we go. And what block? It says whack the middle one is why that one is red. I finally realized that those recipes, if you look at the pink block that it shows there, that tells you what needs to be whacked. There we go, we just got turned around a little bit, and perfect. Now we have our industrial fermenter all taken care of and working. Great. So that's gonna go there. Then that needs to go into a refinery. So the thing is going to flow out here and into the refinery. So let's look at the refinery recipe real quick here. All right, there's our refinery set up properly there. And this appears to be output and this appears to be input. Maybe I have this. Oh no, there's the output and this is the input. I think that's right. Yeah, blue is in and out. So this should flow perfectly. And then this can go out here. And then last but not least, we need to set up our bottler. And that should be set up. Okay, and the input is set up properly. Good, that is all 3 of the machines that we need. Okay, so our 3 machines are now wired up. So let's go over to our fermenter and drop in a bunch of apples and see if we can't get that to ferment real quick. There we go. Slowly but surely those apples are fermenting. I think we're gonna need a bunch more apples though. So let's just clear out most of our stash of apples and we will ferment these here. There we go. And now we're getting ethanol. So that ethanol, we need to do a several step process here. So, because we're actually gonna make 2 loops of it, but I don't wanna make multiple refineries if I can avoid it. So let's go ahead and use our mechanical pipes to pull the fluid out of there and into this tank. There we go. There's our ethanol. And then we need to dump it into this machine. So yeah, we'll let that crank a little bit. It's got an internal tank. So we'll take our 12 buckets that we have now. Let's put this here. Oh, you know what? We need to put it one further away so that we can use our mechanical pipes again. All right, so let's put our ethanol into this machine. There we go. And the recipe here is to combine it with creosote oil. So let's, oh, no, that's not right. We need to combine the ethanol with a silver plate. So I started making some silver plates in our automated machine here. Let's see, silver, yeah, there we go. We got 64 silver plates. I don't know if it goes through them or not, but we'll find out really quick here. So let's put these in here. And that is turning, yeah, there we go, into acetylide. And it doesn't look like it's actually using up the silver plate. I think that's just a piece of the machine, effectively. Okay, our acetaldehyde is done. So now we can bring that back over here and dump it into our fluid tank of this one. We're going to remove our silver plate. And we're going to take one of our advanced fluid tanks and go all the way back over here and fill it up from our source we have right here. So let's grab up a tank of creosote oil. Actually, that's not the place to do it. I think if I put it right here, yeah, there we go. That'll fill up real quick because we've got just about 1 million creosote oil over there that we have been cooking through. And now I believe if we put this down on this end, we will be able to pull our fluids out of that like so. And there we go. There's our phenolic resin being made in large quantities. Okay, so as this starts going, we need to grab up the rest of our research papers and put them into our bottling machine. Research papers. Yeah, there we go. Mod mastery papers. All right, so we take 16 of these and we're going to put those back into this here. Oh, I think I just throw them down on it, but let's use our mechanical pipes. We're going to pull out of here. There we go. And this is now filled with the phenolic oil or whatever it's called. And let's just dump our papers on here. And there we go. Out come our books. All right, so there is our Mastery of Immersive Engineering. We can close that quest off here. Let's grab that. Okay, one more tech buck. And only 3 left to go here. Let's see what we've got. Let's remove Immersive Engineering. Thermal Foundation, easy enough. So I think we have enough Resonant Ender components and diamond gears and mod mastery papers. So let's see here. I've got my mod mastery papers. We're going to need 2 stacks of diamond gears. There we go. And resonant ender components. We need 1.5 stacks of those, I believe. So we'll go to our induction smelter here and let's remove the signalum that we have left over and put these all in there. And this should crank through relatively quickly. All right, and there is our thermal. Okay, that was super easy. No problems there. All right, so I think digital storage should be just about done making all of those ingredients. Let's see here. Should have, yes, 129, 250, even more than I needed. So I screwed that up a little bit. Let's go ahead and remove thermal. Let's do digital storage now. Okay, and there's that done. All right. Now, last but not least, essence. Okay, so we are going to grab up all of our essence and load this in. All right, so let's see if we can get this essence recipe figured out here. So we are missing pretty much everything. So let's start with a piece at a time. We're going to grab up all of this stuff and add it in here. All right, I think I've got my counts right here on all of these, but it just about cleared me out. I have plenty of basic ore left, but everything else that I've been converting, I'm running pretty low on. So let's hope that I got this right. So if I click this, yeah, absolutely perfect. My counting was perfect. And grab all of our mob essence up. Perfect. I'm gonna add that to my collection of books here. And now we should be able to knock off that quest. So mod essence and digital storage, that is all of our quests for all of our books. Now all that's left is to assemble all of it in our ultimate crafting grid. So I'm gonna go make up the last little bits here that I need and put all of these into place. All right, friends, so we are pretty much at the end here. We have everything that we need except for this pesky quantum compressed die ore. That is the thing that we are going to need a lot of. We're going to need a whole stack of it, and this is just too expensive. You need 1,024 of the die base. Now, I have 10,000 die ore in here. I've already fed 10,000 into it from my ultimate bin, and I tried doing it through our chemical injection chamber, but this just doesn't go fast enough to keep up here. You can see in the entire time that I've made like 1,000 of these, I only got a stack and a half out of that machine. So this is too slow. I'd have to scale this up massively for parallel production to be able to keep up. So instead, we've gone to the jumbo furnace. Now, let's try speeding this up a few times using our time in a bottle. Maybe that'll work. Well, it doesn't look like it's working. I'm not sure how to make this go any faster, but clicking on the side one and making that crank up is definitely not making the speed of this increase too dramatically. So we're just going to have to wait this out for a little while and see how far this gets. Now, I think it's 5-1 in this. Let me just double check that. So the jumbo smelting, oh no, it's 2-1. That's not too bad. Okay. So this should give us 5,000 die ore in here, but even at 5,000 die ore, that is still only going to give us 5 pieces of quantum compressed die. So I'm going to wait until we get those last few out of this, but I don't know, y'all. I think that we are going to have to cheat again. I'm afraid that is the case. Yeah, so we've been here a while and we have made almost very little progress on actually making more of this. So we are really, I don't have an hour to waste, y'all, to just wait for this to work itself out. So we're gonna just give ourselves the last little bit of this die. If I had known that we needed it, I would have done this way, way earlier here. So this is the Techopolis quantum compressed die, and we are going to give ourselves 54 pieces of it. So I know that eventually we would have made it. We have everything set up, but I'm sorry, y'all. I wish I had that kind of time in my life. I do not. So let's go ahead and load this up. Oh, we are missing our rings, and we are missing our basic technium. Okay, we can only hold half of our rings at once, so let's go ahead and load this up. Okay, so there is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it's making me click on this each time. 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go grab the rest of our rings out of our stash here. Ring. Okay, and now we can finish up the last of these 16. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay. So that is done, and we get 1 tech buck for all of that. And that wraps up all of our quests. Well, friends, from the top of our windmill here that I just broke the windmill off of, you can see all the things that we had to construct to get through this pack. It's a surprisingly little amount of machinery, even though we do have a lot of auto crafting underneath us here, but the scale is much, much smaller than what we had to do for Feed the Factory to complete it. But still, this is a lot of work, and I think we made a lot of progress. But we now have our final Technium ingots, these lovely pink ingots that I can't even eat for some reason, and they look delicious. But that's about it for this pack. So thanks again for watching Enterprise Architecture, and we'll see you back here for the next adventure. Bye, friends.